Perfect.
All right. Welcome, everyone. I have Alyssa here. She's going to be taking questions and also kind of, clearing up some things that she wants to clear. Welcome, Alyssa. I'm happy to have you here and help you, spread that awareness about Leroy. Um,
Always happy to see your face.
while we're letting people join, I'm going to switch over and I'm going to share in Justice for Leroy Stalker. That is the group ran by Alyssa. There I am.
Ashley, you said his name wrong again.
Did I do is a Stoker? The very first time, or I'm gonna have to. The very first time that I talked to you, though, I got it right the very first time.
Hmm. His name is not spelt how it sounds.
Yeah, that's what you said, and that's why you were surprised I got it right. And then now I get it wrong every single time after that. Every single time. Okay, I am sharing it into your group right now, and I'm gonna let them know that we're live. Sorry, guys, I'm so slow at this. I'm learning. It's a learning process. But I figured I would do it while I was giving everybody time to join. Okay. It is officially posted in your group. This is the first time I've ever done that.
How loud is that TV?
It's not too loud. Honestly,
Okay.
I didn't even notice it until you just said something.
Okay.
Really?
I wasn't sure.
Okay, I'm gonna share to my page too, so that way if people on my page want to watch. So with Leroy, he was involved in a police standoff in Camden, Tennessee,
Yep.
which is Benton County, the
Yep.
24th district.
Correct.
And the standoff started roughly about 3:30.
According to the CAD report, yes, they got there at 3:30.
And roughly about what time did it end? And when I say that, about roughly what time did they bring Leroy out of the house?
So the neighbor said that it was around 10 o'clock, and Leroy was pronounced dead at 10:10 at night. So that is about 7 hours later.
And there's been a lot of controversy pretty much about the events that went down that day. The biggest one that just doesn't sit with me is, and I've always told you that, you know, they very much knew Leroy. He wasn't somebody that they didn't know and didn't have a rendezvous with. And it's just safe to say that they knew he wasn't a threat. And I mean, in the videos I've seen, they sure didn't act like there was somebody in the house with a gun, if you ask me, my opinion. That's the thing that's never set well with me. Because they
I
knew.
have the same opinion. Leroy, the sheriff, says that it was like playing a cat and mouse game. Like Leroy liked to run, and he liked to hide in trees. Leroy would say that he would hide in the trees because they just did not like to look up. Apparently, he was like a little bear, just.
My husband, if he was a little delinquent back in the day, he got a chance, a moment's notice. Okay, I am almost done here. I just want to give my page a little bit more details for
Do
anybody.
your thing.
Count.
I have questions written down, but I'd rather
Well, that's why,
wait to see.
and with his, that brings a lot of controversy. I bet you have seen a lot of, especially with people that don't really know the details, and aren't really familiar with things that went down. I'm sure that you have seen a lot of things in the comment sections,
Every day.
which we understand. I understand, but
I can
I do,
completely understand.
and that's why, and I get it. But that's
Mhm.
why I like doing this, so that way your voice can still be heard. So I think that's why we were talking about doing a question and answer, and I think it's a really good idea. Um, I just want to be respectful. So if you want your comment popped up on the screen, press hashtag Leroy just so I can see it, and just so I know that I'm allowed to pop it up on screen.
Okay, so for you, is it the same for me? At the bottom it says Mike, Cam, Mike,
Yeah.
chat, and I have to click chat to be able to see the chat.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I always assumed
Because you
that
should
it was.
be able to see you should be able to see them too, because there's an option. And I have it turned on to where you guys can see the comments. So you should be.
Well, I guess we'll see when they start coming in.
24th. Okay, I'm done. I was like, did I forget to put the YouTube link? No, I didn't. We got it. I'm sorry. Okay, you guys, I'm sorry. I'm good to go now. I just wanted to make it easy for. I know there was a lot of people that wanted to hop on throughout. So yes. So if you want your comment, I just want to be respectful. I don't want to make somebody mad and them tell me, oh, don't ever do that again. Pop my comment up there. So if you have a question, that helps me see it better too. So, okay. So I know that you have some questions written down, and I want to hear. Me too. Hear what has been said, and I want to give you the opportunity to clear it up for the people that don't understand. So,
Are you sitting back in your little cozy chair?
yeah, I am. Yeah, with something like this, there's got to be a lot of talk.
So, the most common question that I get asked is why Leroy did not come out of the house. And a lot of people say that if he would have just came out of the house, he would not be dead. Well, if Leroy chose to stay in that house, it was most likely because he was terrified of police. Since 2017, he always would talk about how the Benton County Sheriff's Department had been trying to kill him since an incident that happened in 2017 where they had tear gassed him. Granted, they did not use the amount of tear gas that they used. It was a lot less than they used the time that they killed him, the time that I believe they killed him. Um, the time in 2017, there was only a couple. I don't know an exact number, but the time that he died, there was from a lawyer between 38 and 42. Neighbors say it was an ungodly amount.
Yeah.
So if Leroy chose not to come out of the house, it was probably because he was terrified, because he figured either way he was going to get killed.
And I kind of feel like that's kind of irrelevant, because even if he didn't choose to come out, at one point was enough to go try to enter the house. It's just the amount of force and the lengths that they let it go to is my
Right. If he did not choose not to come out of the house, I believe that it is because of the blunt force trauma that he had, some whatever the marks on his neck were from, and whatever was around his ankles. So I don't know if he was even given a choice to come out, regardless of what police have to say.
Right?
What?
Because he didn't have his socks or shoes on when.
Correct. He did not have socks or shoes
know
on.
what that around his ankles were, and he wasn't he wasn't burnt enough for his shoes and socks to burn off.
Right.
So
People say that the socks will burn very quick,
yeah,
but I believe if the socks burnt, that would still be enough to give more than just a superficial burn.
yeah, I think there would have been a lot more.
That's just my opinion. I'm not an expert. But that is one of the most common questions I get asked. Also, I believe that he possibly, once that fire started, could have been trying to get out of the house because there was a gunshot, and I don't know what the gunshot was from. There was never any clarification on the gunshot. I look red. that movie is over with now, so it's going through the credits, so it's kind of dark, and I don't have a light to turn on here. But
my lighting makes me look like I'm wearing 50 shades of foundation, so it's okay.
Yeah, 50 Shades of White. Well, I'm just red. I'm a strawberry tonight. But so I believe that he possibly could have been trying to get out of the house once the fire started. And people will ask me if he had a gunshot wound then. And no, according to the autopsy report, he did not have a gunshot wound. But I think about the case with Aaron Shane Key and how in his autopsy report, it did not talk about the cut on his face or other markings that he had. The autopsy report left that completely out, even though his mom could see from the pictures that stuff was clearly there. So I don't even know if I can trust an autopsy report.
Oh, Tennessee be wilding out.
Yeah, they sure do. It don't matter if it's the cops or the public. They're all wilding out in Tennessee.
I love Tennessee, and I always thought maybe I would move close there. And I said, no, not anymore. They're too crazy there. Them laws.
I have learned a lot about Tennessee. I have my cousin here, so if anybody's wondering what I'm looking at, she's got a really cute shirt on, and I'm checking it out because fat chicks cannot wear the shirts that she's got on right now. No. Oh, God. But I had a couple other questions. These are just questions that people have asked me today. Somebody asked, why was Leroy at the house that was owned by the chief of police? So Leroy was at a house that was owned by the Camden chief of police, which is the town that he was in at the time. The chief of police does not live at that house. His family owns the house because it was, what just happened? I don't know. Okay, I don't know. Something popped up on my screen. It said, create your story. All right. Have a good night. Be safe. Did you say love you? Love you too. But so the chief of police's mom owned that house, and when she died, her family inherited the house. So it was not owned just by the chief of police. It was owned by his siblings, which from speaking to him, he has a lot of siblings.
But they were his siblings were living in that house.
One of them was, yes.
Okay.
One of his siblings was, and two of his nephews lived in the house. I'm going to try to mute this TV or something. I don't know what my kids did with the remote. I don't know. I might go white for a second now. Woo!
That goes on every day in my house. It's a constant battle where the remote is.
We literally just found out the remote today
after a month. You guys have the TV. Why would I know where the remote is? I don't ever get it.
I have no idea. Hopefully it just will be quiet soon. But so I can see a little bit better now too, and everybody can see me. But So Leroy was friends with the chief of police's nephew's on and off boyfriend. And from what I understand from talking to some of the people that Leroy hung out with, the house that Leroy died in was like a trap house. So if nobody knows what a trap house is like a place where people do drugs and whatever. They just hang out at that house. There's people in and out all the time.
I don't
But
have a picture of what it looked like before, but I do have this one, a picture of what it looked like afterwards.
right, a lot of that stuff is cleaned up. I just went there a couple weeks ago.
You have a video on your page, don't you?
Yep. Oh, I sure do. But the two people that Leroy would have been there to see, he was acquaintances with. He wasn't really friends. He just knew them through people, which I don't know exactly why he was at the house, because for the 3 years that we were together, he did not have very good things to say about either one of them. He said that the chief of police's nephew was the drama queen. I guess you just like to start problems, especially between Leroy and the friend that, like the mutual friend. He created a lot of problems between Leroy and the mutual friend that they had. And then the other girl that was there that Leroy could have been there to see, he claimed that she liked to tell on people, that she was a snitch, and just was literally in bed with officers and DEA agents. And
Did the person that dropped Leroy off ever say anything as to why he was there that day?
he claims that he was there to go and pick up some of his belongings. So, which for me is still, well, why was he even there at all to have belongings there? I don't know.
Was anything, I don't think I've ever asked you this. Was there anything recovered of Leroy's from either on him or around him or anything?
The only thing I know that was recovered was a necklace that he was wearing, his phone, because they asked for the police called me and asked me if I knew the lock code for his phone. He had on a pair of shorts. He had a watch on, and he had his wallet, which had quite a bit of money in it, and some debit cards that also had quite a bit of money on them.
But nothing like, I mean, for him to go get his belongings, nothing like that. That was ever.
Not that I know of. And from what I could see in the house, everything was pretty burnt up. So even if he did have something there, I don't think that they would have been able to recover it just from what I could see by looking in the windows.
Do you know where Leroy was at right before this?
When he got picked up, because apparently he was picked up from there. So when he got picked up, he went with one of his friends to somebody else's house. I'm not sure whose house, but he left for a while to go to somebody else's house and then came back to get his stuff. And the friend was supposed to come back later and pick him back up because Leroy didn't want to be there.
I did not know. Okay. Yeah. I wonder who that person is. That'd be a really nice person to talk to.
I don't know either. I did have contact with the person who dropped him off there for a while.
Right.
But after Leroy died, his friend ended up relapsing, and he went back to rehab and has had a lot of like mental problems since this happened. One of the things that he said was that he feels like he dropped Leroy off, his best friend. He dropped his best friend off just to get murdered. So I haven't been able to get a hold of him, and I understand why.
Oh gosh.
I can't imagine how he feels. They've known each other for a long time. When me and Leroy first met, he used to tell me all about this person. Like some of their favorite songs that they would listen to. They had been in jail together, and
Yeah.
they were just really good friends.
I can imagine.
Almost anybody that met Leroy was really good friends with Leroy. I don't think I've had one person that knew Leroy who has not told me that that was their best friend.
You have those people that are just everybody. They have the ability to just be everybody's best friend.
Yeah.
So what other questions do you have written down? I'm just so curious.
Somebody
watching has any questions that they, if you're familiar with the story and the details,
even if you're not, or even if you want, even if it's not a question and it's just a statement, like I'm sure that there's probably somebody out there watching who does not agree with my opinion, and I understand. And I would, if you have an opposing comment, I can give you my reasoning why I don't
just
share
have
the
a healthy discussion.
Right. Yeah. But one of the other questions I was asked today was, were there others there? So there was possibly 5 other people there, including, and then Leroy. There was either 4 or 5 other people. One person was, I only know for sure 4. So for sure there was the chief of police's brother, 2 of his nephews, and then 1 of his nephew's friends. So there was 1 female, 3 males, and then Leroy. So 5 altogether that I know for sure.
And so when the sheriff showed up on the scene, 2 people came out.
2 people came out because they thought that, from what I heard, the girl that was there, she called me one day after I had released part of the autopsy report saying that it was a homicide. She contacted me and asked if I would call and talk to her. And I asked her, what happened? And she told me that they saw her and one of the nephews came outside of the house because they thought that there was going to be a raid next door. So they came out, and she said that the cops asked the 2 of them if Leroy was inside the house, where he was in the house, and where the gun was. She said that both of them denied that Leroy was there and denied that there was a gun there.
Okay, but even so, say that they both came out, and then I can't even fathom sending one of them back in, but he sent both of them back in.
Yes, they sent both of them back in. The girl had to go get her dog, apparently, and then the nephew was supposed to go in and tell everybody else to come out of the house.
So that same sheriff was at another encounter with Leroy, right? Where he took out his...
he had a lot of encounters with Leroy, so I can't even tell you how many. But
it was kind of a standoff. He would take out his microphone and announce, come out, but this time he didn't do that. He sent them back in.
He sent them back in to go tell Leroy and the others to come outside.
With somebody that potentially has a gun, mind you.
Yeah. Do you still have that picture of the gun?
It's in my... Let me see if I can get it. But that's just the part that doesn't understand. Why would... And that's my question to them. Why would they send one, yet both of them back into a situation like that? When before he would take out his megaphone and shout into the house. He didn't do that at that moment, did he? When did he?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, he didn't do that.
In the night, sometime in the night, they had a megaphone and were trying to talk to him.
And that's crazy. So much had gone down by then, and I just...
Right.
To them, I don't understand what the hell they were thinking there. Other than the fact that, in my belief, Leroy was never unable to walk out that house. And that's just my opinion. Strictly mine. I don't think he was able to come out of that house. That
Yes.
So they sent 2 people back into a situation where there's a potential person in there with a gun like that.
Correct.
Instead of shouting into the house for everybody to come out. I mean, I just wonder why they did that. That's my question.
So they would, I'm just thinking, they would have had Leroy come out with that gun while there's all them cops sitting outside, but they couldn't go into the house after knowing that he's probably somewhat fuzzy from flashbangs and tear gas.
Yeah. I got this one. Can you see that pop up?
Yep. I see it. I see you, Sarah.
There we go. I couldn't get it. There we go. I was like, I see it. No,
I can see it pop up on the screen, but I cannot see it when I click chat.
I'm so okay. Oh, okay. That's nice to know, because there's an option where I can either let you see comments or not let you see comments, and I have the option for you to see comments on.
I don't know. I don't know nothing about this stuff.
I'm learning, you guys. I'm sorry. It's a work in progress.
Oh, and since are you okay?
There we go. We'll go to that one.
Okay, since since this happened to Leroy, I have been like focusing more on stuff like this, and I have come to a realization that it is not just Benton County. It's all over Tennessee. I've had people from the same state that I live in talk about it, and you don't hear about any of this stuff. You don't hear about it at all. Like, it's so easily covered up. There was a lady a couple weeks ago. I live in southern Wisconsin, and she said that it happens all the time in northern Wisconsin, and everybody knows what happened, so they don't talk about it.
I'm in Ohio, and we have our own little, but I've never, yeah.
Yeah, you don't hear this stuff at all.
And you brought across on your page about the Holly Bobo case, which I just want to say I do not know very much about, other than the fact my impression was that Ellie in that investigation screwed up so damn bad that they had to make laws to protect themselves in case so that they don't have to show where they screwed up at.
Right. And they changed laws because of that case, and coincidentally, the same district attorney that handled that case is the same district attorney that handled Leroy's.
Yeah.
And that his name is Matt Stowe. Matt Stowe, in the Holly Bobo case, decided to relieve himself of the case. First he said that the TBI, which is the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, first he claimed that they were like misconduct, like they had misconduct. And then the TBI, because of Matt saying that, they stepped down and relieved themselves from the case. So then Matt decided that he was going to relieve himself from the case, so the people that he just said were doing misconduct would come back onto the case and handle it.
I want to learn all about that. I want
the only stuff I know about.
She was a case out of
the next county down from Benton County.
So it is in Tennessee.
County. I'm not 100% sure.
And like when Lisa first came to me about Aaron Shankey, she was like, "Well, he's not the only one. There's a few other cases." And then I found you, and then I'm just like, Tennessee is really wilding out. Why is it so different from anybody else's? And then you mentioned that, and I was like, well, no fucking wonder they're allowed to do whatever the hell they want in there. They don't have to show anything. With us, we're not allowed to pick and choose what we know. We could be charged with obstruction of justice, and like so much. Like, what is it?
Yes, we do not have a choice.
We could be
If we got
charged with what word am I looking for? I'm having a blank here. We can be charged with tampering with evidence or hindering an investigation or all types of things. So how are they allowed to be like, oh, we screwed up, but we're not allowed to show, we don't have to show you.
Yeah, they can pick and choose. And I was watching something about a man who had gone missing in I believe it was Cooksville, Tennessee, which I have family there, but they're distant, and that's irrelevant. But I saw something maybe even a couple days ago that I'm talking to Sarah now. I have looked at the Summer Walls case just a little bit, but this man in Cooksville, Tennessee, had gone missing, and the police, they shared so much evidence to try to help find this man. And when I talked to WBBJ, which is in Jackson, Tennessee, that is the news station that covers Camden. When I talked to him, he said that you will never be able to get body cam from police because you just will not. And then this man from Cooksville, Tennessee, they were quick to help the family try to find this man. But in cases like Aaron's or Leroy's or Eric McClendon,
and
like
Aaron, and
John Hannon, like you can't get help from the police. I don't know why.
Like you can't even get 911 calls. Like I fully believe that with Aaron Shane Keys, I want to get a hold of them bad boys so bad because I think that right there will shut that whole.
Right.
That's why they won't ever release it. That's how I feel. That's just my opinion, solely.
Yep. But they can pick and choose what they will release and what they won't release.
And it made sense when you posted that about Holly Bobo. And because, like I said, I don't know much about her case. But when you said that, it clicked. Like, so I want to learn as much as I can about what they are protected, what falls into that. So for the Unraveling series that we're doing,
records in Tennessee public records in Tennessee are only available to Tennessee residents if the police department says that, like, their police records and stuff can be released. And they don't even have to copy it and give it to you. They can have you come in and view it, but they can make you leave your phone in the car or at the front desk, so you can't even take pictures of it. So even if you do get something that is strange, you have no evidence of it.
It's so crazy. I mean, it just all makes sense. So yeah, I want to learn as much. If there is anybody out there in Tennessee that can school me on what came of that Holly Bobo case and the laws that protect him, come school me because I really want to come talk about it. And I want to know enough to be able to talk about it, and I don't. So about the Summer Wells case, though, I know I like the Unraveling Tennessee. You know, right now we're really trying to get the billboard that they denied. Yeah. That's why I started with it. They denied it. So I was like, you know what? That's where I'm going to start in Tennessee. I'm going to start and I'm going to run as many stories off that damn billboard that I can.
Right.
And, you know, we're doing others outside of the 13th too. That's why I just put the Unraveling Tennessee. And I really want to do the Summer Wells case. I don't know a lot, but with that one, I don't even know where I would start at this point. Like there's just so much going on. I would be so late in the game, and I don't even know really where I would start to even go back to the beginning and learn. There's so much out there about her, and so much being said, and there's so many theories and so much, and I wouldn't know where to begin.
This is so interesting to me because it seems like there's a lot of media coverage on it.
Yeah, and that's why I haven't either, because kind of what I want to do is I want to give the ones that don't get that attention a chance to get the attention. So
But at the same, like they have a lot of media coverage on it, but at the same time, it's always the same story. It's not anything new. It seems like to me anyway. It is a mess. But
yeah. But okay, so what some more questions about what have you just seen out there in general that you want to talk about and clear up?
what did I see when I went down to Tennessee?
No, just in the comments, now that Leroy's story is getting out there, what are just some things that you've seen?
A lot of people are pro police, which I've always been pro police. I've never been in trouble with the cops. I spent one night in jail for a parking ticket or something that I didn't pay, whatever. But I've always been pro police. I used to work for the DOC. Like, I like the men that I like, but
Yeah.
like still, like I used to tell Leroy all the time, like about himself and how he needed to fix.
Well, you're a good guy. That doesn't mean you're not a good girl. You're on the. Look at me. My husband was a complete delinquent back in the day, and I was. I mean, I got it underage and had to have a little bout with like court ordered egg because my levels were so high. I'm not an angel, but my husband was definitely the delinquent. I'm the angel for the both of us.
There's a lot of, like, one comment that I got today was he was a felon. I have no sympathy. I'm like,
terrible.
There is good people on, there are people who are felons who are not bad people. There are people who are cops that are not bad people. The majority of felons and the majority of police are good people, but then with anybody, there doesn't always have to be a bad egg, but there is a bad egg on both ends of the spectrum. But another question that I got today was, why did they claim that he had a gun?
Okay.
Yes, a lot of people that loved Leroy. A lot. My daughter said especially her and her sister. But
that's absolutely right. Yes.
She's supposed to be sleeping, but we got a little Miss Nosy. She does want to be a cop though someday, so hopefully she can fight to turn things around.
My son wants to be a cop.
As long as she doesn't go to Tennessee, we'll be good.
Yeah.
She's going to Hawaii.
We've thought about it when we're said and done and retired. Hawaii would be nice. That's crazy.
Yeah. I'm from Wisconsin. We like dairy, and in Hawaii, apparently dairy is expensive, so it's not happening. But you can go, Paisley, but not me. But so the question I got was, why did they claim he had a gun? One of the girls, or yes, the gun was taken, or the gun was apparently found by the chief of police 2 days afterwards.
Which they would have to step over to go get.
Correct. They would have had to step.
Crazy.
From what I heard from the chief of police, when I did talk to the chief of police, when I went down to Tennessee, he called me on my phone, and he said that he's not sure what information is correct that he's getting because he was not there. So he only gets information from some of his coworkers, which are in a different department. He's city police, and the people that were out there were the county police. So he only knows what he hears, apparently, from the county police that were there. So he said he's not sure what's true and what's not, but from what he was told, he was in the front bedroom in the corner of the house.
Let me see here.
The picture that you have, it's a red circle.
Yeah, that's what I had.
That's what I understand, and that's what he was told, was that he was found in that room. So they would have had to go over the gun to be able to get Leroy out of the house in the first place, and then they were there until 5 in the morning on May 5th. So from 10:10 around 10 o'clock when he was brought out of the house until 5 o'clock, the next morning, they were there at the house, but apparently did not find the gun then. They didn't find it until May 6th when the chief of police and the homeowner went into the house and he apparently found it.
Which is kind of suspicious, if you ask me.
Yeah. So I don't know. But with the gun, the girl that was there claimed that the police asked where Leroy and the gun were located, and she denied that Leroy and the gun were in the house. That's what she claims. The cops say that her and the other guy came out, and when they asked, they said that Leroy was inside with an AR-15. The chief of police's nephew has refused to talk. He did talk to Leroy's grandma one time, but briefly, maybe 5 minutes, and then said he had to go and he would call her back later, and he never did. So I don't know. He's refused to give any type of explanation for anything. But that girl's sister, because Leroy died on May 4th, his funeral was on his birthday on June 18th. That would have been his 31st birthday.
Yeah.
So the girl's sister had told us that that girl got some felony meth charges dropped by the time that Leroy had his funeral. So between the time that Leroy died and his funeral, sometime in between there, her felony meth charges were dropped. So I don't know if that was a like a reward for helping Leroy. I don't know. I just thought it was strange that those charges were 2 years old and mysteriously got dropped within a month of Leroy dying. And yes, there were texts from May 1st saying that the gun was being sold May 1st. So I don't know. I would assume that the gun was sold on May 1st if he said that he was selling the gun before Leroy came back. And then Leroy replied to that text and said, "Fuck it, I'm just going to be killed anyway."
And this was days before?
3 days before he died.
So, I mean, with that, it's safe to say that he wouldn't even have been. Now, okay, I just want to ask this: Are any of the people that were inside the house who Leroy was supposed to be selling the gun to?
No.
So there would be no reason why. I mean, if he sold that gun on May 1st, there would be no way possible for that gun to be in the house.
Right. None of the people that were in the house was who Leroy or who the chief's nephew sold the gun to. But the person that I heard bought that gun, they were arrested before Leroy even had his funeral. So I was not able to get a hold of him and ask him anything about it. I tried to send him letters up to the jail. I tried to visit with him, and I got denied for all of it. And I don't know if the jail denied it or if he denied it.
Very nice.
What do you mean by prior to Leroy coming there? Sarah.
Oh, she said this much. We appreciate it. Just trying to help get things I remember from reading on your page. That's what we want.
Right.
That's why we definitely did this.
Yep.
Because there's I just believe whatever it came down to that day. Why of all times that he, on the one time he couldn't respond or come out, or why that happened and such access happened. It's just, it doesn't make sense to me.
Right. Another question that I got today was, what was his cause of death? So there was a fire that broke out, and his cause of death from the autopsy, this is not like my own opinion on his cause of death. This is a medical examiner's official autopsy report, that his cause of death was smoke inhalation and thermal injury, which is breathing in smoke and burns. He had superficial burns, and from what I understand, that is like a sunburn. So I've had severe burns on on most of my legs where I couldn't even walk, and I did not die from that. Granted, I did not have smoke inhalation. It was from a sunburn, but it hurt like hell. And then his manner of death was ruled as a homicide. Now, in an autopsy report, it doesn't say unjustifiable or a justifiable homicide. It just says a homicide. So everybody says that it was justifiable, but because he did not start the fire, that is why it was considered a homicide.
But in other instances with Leroy, when officers would try to communicate with him, would he respond?
To my knowledge, no.
He would not. But okay, that goes to show, even in the last time they used a few cans and then entered, and then they got him. It didn't take 40,000 cans of tear gas and flaming a freaking house. Sorry, excuse me. Going in there, what was so different about this day? Because I don't think he was ever able to leave the house, but the fact that he had that in his lungs lets me know that
he was alive when the fire started.
Yeah, he was breathing, but was he conscious? That's my question. So, how do you determine that? You know what I mean? Because I don't think he was. I don't think, from the blunt force trauma and from the neck and the ankles and he was not conscious. And that's just that's just how I feel.
Leroy did use meth, and he used a lot of it, especially around that time. And I don't know what is a high amount for somebody who takes a high amount daily, but I will get to your question in a minute, Sarah. But his levels were at 1,800 mcg, whatever, I believe it's mcg, which is, I don't know, micrograms. I have no idea what that means, but that is a very high number. And I don't know if, since he used daily throughout the day, he would eat probably about a gram at a time. I don't know what a normal level for somebody eating a gram at a time of meth would be, but regardless, that is a very high amount, which I don't know what that could do to a person's body. If when the tear gas came in, if that would make him pass out easier or what, I have no idea. But
I believe that there was a point where they could have entered the house way before things got to the
And when they first started putting the tear gas in, they were focusing on that room that Leroy was supposedly found in. So
just,
yes, if you watch the videos, it is literally do.
Isn't that one room? Just this little.
And that whole house is maybe 900 square feet.
Yeah.
So that room could have, I don't even know, maybe 10 by 10, if that.
So crazy.
I don't know.
There's a video of you walking around on your page. People should, in your group, that people should.
Right.
And you get a better view.
I did also post a video of that the nephew had taken, the one that said that Leroy had the gun. I did post that video on my page as well. because he walked around the house just a couple days afterwards. So I do have that video on the page as well, and can send links if it's not on the page. But I'm pretty sure I've shared it twice. What about the trauma that was in it? We didn't know if it was the head or what. In the autopsy report, it says blunt force trauma of the body. It does not specify where the blunt force trauma was. There was a part in the autopsy where it said that he had a small blush of blood between his brain and his skull. So some people have said that that could have been from him getting hit by tear gas. If Leroy was hiding in there, he probably would have been in a closet, in the bathroom, somewhere where there was not a window, because he knew what was going to happen with the tear gas.
Yeah.
So I would assume that if he was not bound, or if he was conscious and could move, he would have been in a closet or somewhere where there was not direct access to him.
Mm-hmm.
The officer did, so this is Tristan, I know her. The officer did call, or no, the officer did not call us. We called him because Leroy's ex-wife called us, and she said that Leroy was in a house, there was a standoff. So Leroy's grandma called the Camden Police Department, and I called the Camden Police Department, and we both got two different people. So once we contacted them, dispatch, I guess, we talked to dispatch, and dispatch each called both of us, and they said, just keep trying to call him, keep trying to text him. When the police officers called, they asked us to keep trying to call and keep trying to text him. So that's what we did. And one of Leroy's friends that was on the scene, she was told by Russell Wood, which is a TBI agent that was he is a TBI, and he works for either the county or the city. I don't know. Somebody from that area will have to tell me who Russell Wood is. But I know that he's like a dual officer. But I believe Russell Wood told one of Leroy's friends that they had put a block on his phone so that he could not make or receive phone calls or texts. So they told us to try to call him and text him, because we were trying to come down there, and they kept telling us not to come down because they were about to go in and he would be arrested anyway, so we wouldn't even get to see him. Did any of them come into money? That I do not know. There is apparently, so the person who bought Leroy's gun, from what I understand, bought Leroy's gun anyway. When he went to jail, there's a girl who apparently got that gun when that guy went to jail. From rumors on the street, she also had about $800 of Leroy's money, but she has not confirmed that. She said that she had not seen him for a while, so I don't know what is true and what is not.
Right. Wow.
So because Leroy's grandma definitely tried to figure out where all of Leroy's belongings and stuff were, but she was not able to find this mysterious $800. Because apparently when the gun was sold, they were going to bring Leroy a car that they bought with the money. So we did try to find the vehicle that Leroy apparently had, and we did not find that either. But I know that the one car that Leroy did have, it was the person who sold it to him was not the person named on the title. So I don't know what was all going on with that, but one of the cars that Leroy did have, the person who sold it to him was not the person named on the title. So if Leroy would have bought a car 3 days prior, or somebody bought the car for him, I don't know how it worked, but if somebody bought that car, I'm sure Leroy wouldn't have just walked into the courthouse and gotten the title switched to his name, especially since he did know that he had a warrant in Benton County.
Yeah, that would make no sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be easy to take the car back and resell it. If that's what happened.
Mhm.
All I know is what happened up in Kentucky where we lived. Is the car that he had there did not have his name or the person's name on it that sold it to him. So I don't know. But another question that I was asked today, they are not still actively investigating. The case was closed in October when, as far as I know, they're not actively investigating. From what I understand, they closed the case in October, which is when his autopsy came out. So once his autopsy came out, apparently Matt Stowe, the wonderful district attorney of Benton County in the 24th Judicial District, he apparently took it to the grand jury and they decided not to pursue any charges. But nobody knows what was brought forward or anything.
Yeah.
Because that's all grand jury, from what I understand, is always done in secret. So it's not just a Tennessee thing.
Yeah.
But
well, because if it's not brought, like in the Courtney Cash case out of Putnam County, Tennessee, she's in the 13th district. Wayne pleaded. So like there was you have his interrogation and then you have like the prelim transcripts, but he pleaded, so there was no trial. You didn't get to see all those all the evidence they didn't destroy. I should say that much. Right. As far as her case is concerned. Right. Even if it did go to trial, like there would just be no evidence. I asked myself what they would even show. They threw so much of it out. But that's right. But yeah, you don't get to see a lot of it. So you
only get to see what they choose for you to see.
And yeah.
I don't know where Leroy's phone is. I do not talk to most of his family anymore. I do talk to his dad's side of the family mostly. And so with his mom and his grandma, I don't know if they have his phone or not. There probably would be info, like stuff in his phone over text and over Facebook. From what I understand, at that time he had 2 phones because George Smith, which is the chief of police, said that with Straight Talk phones, so everybody do not use Straight Talk because apparently with Straight Talk phones, they can get right into that and know exactly where you're at. If you move, it shows that you're moving with a Straight Talk phone.
Oh, wow.
From what George Smith
is that, like a phone service? Like
Straight Talk is through Walmart.
I know what that. Okay, I think I had that.
And no, Leroy had a prepaid AT&T phone. So, and I have AT&T prepaid, but we weren't on the same plan. We had separate plans. Because I definitely would have been like hardcore creeping.
Man.
But no, he had his own plan. So, and apparently a Straight Talk phone too. From what the chief said, I don't know if that's true or not. That's just what I'm told.
I just have a question for them, like for a situation where there was supposed to be a gunman inside. If you go look at the videos on your page, it's a pretty lax atmosphere. I keep saying it looks like a block party, and the police are just there to try to make sure things don't get
block party. They had the neighbors said that there was tons of people outside. It was a block party. They had pizza. They had a bunch of Leroy's friends outside. All the neighbors were outside.
It's like
people from all over town were coming. Like people were
right.
listening to the police scanner and they were coming to the area because one of Leroy's friends' parents, I was talking to them and they're like, yeah, we just heard it on the scanner, got in the car and went over there. Sat there for a while. It was a block party pretty much. Mommy, I'm a grandma. Did you hear my kid? She said, I got twins. Right now, if you if I would have known that, I probably would have done it. But now when you call his phone is not active anymore.
Because like if you let the number run out so long on those phones, won't it redirect you to a new number and take that number away, and you'll have to like.
I don't know how that works.
Activate it. It's been a while
that stuff works.
Yeah, I know after so long, if you don't use the number.
But I don't even think Leroy had voicemail set up. Like on one of his old phone plans, he was so dumb, I swear. But on one of his old phones, he had his voicemail. Do not leave me a voicemail. I'm not gonna listen to it. Like I don't want to talk to you. Or something stupid. He was like, I'm not gonna listen to it, so don't even leave one.
I didn't have it on my voicemail, but I would tell people like, you might as well not even leave a voicemail.
You would get pissed if people left him voicemails. Like, legit pissed off about people leaving voicemails. Like, don't they listen to my thing? Oh, no, Sarah just left a whole bunch of comments, so you're not annoying me.
Yeah, this is why we had this for anybody, that especially people that are familiar and have questions, and people that aren't familiar, they can kind of get a little bit of the gist of how and what's going on, and then they can go back and dive further. That's my hope.
But so one of the questions that I was asked today was, how did the fire start? So there's a bunch of different stories about how the fire started. I don't know what's true. The police that were on scene told George Smith that the fire started because a tear gas canister landed on a bed in the back bedroom, which I don't know if that's true or not. But the fire marshal will not talk to anybody, so we can't get a direct answer from the fire marshal on what started it. So when I was talking to a police reform organization out in Los Angeles, out in California, I'm assuming everybody all over the world probably knows where Los Angeles is, but I think there's a girl from Australia watching, so I don't know if I'm assuming she probably knows where Los Angeles is, but if you don't, Jessica, it's in California. But he said that to get the most accurate cause of the fire, go to the homeowner's house insurance. Whatever the insurance company says, that's going to be the most accurate because they do the most in-depth investigation. But the chief of police and his siblings, the chief of police said that they did not file an insurance claim. So I don't know. I can't even ask the insurance company. No.
I want to know why. Well, that's the question I'm asking them. If they're nosy and watching, why the hell didn't they file an insurance claim?
The reason that I heard was because of a lawsuit. Apparently, you can't file an insurance claim and a lawsuit. That's the answer I was given. So I don't know. But onlookers, there were several people, like right after all of this happened, several people said that when the police went back behind the house, they were carrying a gas can. And so several people said that, and people that didn't even know each other Like, or they, some people, they weren't even there, but they heard rumors about a gas drug too. But then when I went down to Tennessee a couple weeks ago, I was talking to a neighbor,
Bring
and
them.
he said that as the cop was leaving, a gas jug fell out of his car and rolled down the hill. So the cop stopped his vehicle, got out of the car, grabbed the gas jug, and left. And that's when the fire started. And this was a brick house. So if anybody has watched the video, I don't believe, in my opinion, that a brick house could have fire spewing like that in seconds. From what I know, I have to do fire safety for my job, and it takes roughly 2 minutes for a fire to completely engulf a room, from what I understand. That took off
in those videos, you see a group of officers right where she's filming that.
Yeah.
You see it's like a pack of them. They go
back to the house,
and then they run back. They run.
Yep.
Like, they're hauling ass. Like, I mean, I feel like,
and then,
for the whole time, the relaxed atmosphere of this whole standoff, that was like the most exciting part of the whole thing. Because I was just like, what's about to go down? And then that was it.
Yeah, and then you see that.
I mean, that's the only time you really see. But yeah, it's a pack of them. They go back slowly, and then they kind of hush. They rush back up around there.
They hush.
Yeah. Well, they hush. That's for sure.
They sure are. Another thing, we've talked about this already, but another question that I got today was what the autopsy says. Somebody asked me what the autopsy says, and I've already kind of covered this, but one thing was that there was blunt force trauma of his body. Doesn't give specifics on that. It says that there was a small blush of blood between his brain and his skull on the top of his head, so somewhere up here.
Does there even do that? I don't know. Like, that's what I'm asking anybody that knows, is like, would a canister cause that? Like, if they're saying that he could have gotten like blasted in the head by a canister, could it hit you that hard to do that? I don't know. I want to know if anybody out there that has any experience in that area.
Anybody can comment on this, because I still am not 100% sure what this means, but it said that there was right pleural adhesions. So I'm not sure what that means. Some people have told me, and I cannot remember off the top of my head right now what that means, but people said, oh, well, it could have been from CPR. Well,
they didn't.
They said if it was from CPR, though, it would have been in the middle, not on just one side. Okay, so it depends on if it was shot or thrown. Well, yeah, and it was both. So sometimes, like when they went to the back of the house, they were apparently throwing them in. But
I'm just saying, if that's what they wanted to happen, I was just trying to see if it was even possible. I don't think so, because like you said earlier, I think he would have been somewhere not in the direct line of fire of these cans coming through the window. You know what I mean?
Yeah. From what the sheriff said,
where'd they say
in past times he's been found in a closet with a blanket wrapped around him, which is also apparently what he was doing this time, according to the sheriff. But that's not the story that the chief of police was given. The chief of police was given a story that he was with his back up against the bedroom door. And then when I had, some people might know who this is, Burton Staggs. Burton Staggs is a journalist for Tennessee River News or something, Tennessee River Valley News. I don't know what he's an independent journalist. And he said that when he read the autopsy report, it sounded like Leroy was laying on the ground on his back.
Yeah,
So
that's right. Yeah, that's what I
because he had virtually no burns on the backside of his body, only on the front.
I don't think he was conscious when those people walked out, and I think that's what he was. He was laying on the floor up again. Because, I mean, if you think about it, they could try to say that he was exactly how they said that he found him. I think it would be the same kind of consistent.
If anybody lives in Tennessee, can you just tell me how hot it is in May? Like, because I don't understand why he was not wearing a shirt. Like, I mean, because up here it's like just starting to warm up. So I don't know what it's like in Tennessee in May, but in Wisconsin, it's just starting to warm up and it's raining all the time.
But would he be that comfortable at somebody's house that he was really not at all the time?
Leroy hated heat.
Take his shoes off, take his shirt off, take his socks off.
See, and I don't know. I like shoes and socks, definitely not. He didn't even do that at his own house.
Yeah.
He was a freak. Like, he was just weird. But with the shirt, I can see it because Leroy hated heat. Like, he loved winter. He would sit outside with the kids for hours doing snowmen and, like, they made, apparently, my mom into a snowman one time. Like, he loved snow. He was a weird. Like, he said when he was in prison in Wisconsin, he would volunteer to go and shovel because he just loved snow so much. But he hated heat. Pick away.
Hey, I'm happy to have his opinion. Seriously.
Yeah, okay, so if your husband is right next to you, how, for a house that is around 900 square feet, how many rounds of tear gas do you think should be thrown into that? That's the question that I have.
Would he withstand? Like, how much would a normal person, like, if you're sitting in a, what, he had no shirt on? Would you say he had shorts?
Yep, a pair of black athletic shorts.
How would a person, how long would a normal person conscious be able to sit?
Turn into a, we're going to ask Sarah some answers and questions now.
Like, how long would a person with that much skin sit in a room with some tear gas coming in is what I've always wondered.
Because from what I understand, it's like pepper spray. I've never been pepper sprayed, but
experience and can give me a legit answer for that. Man, because I just don't think if he was conscious in there, I don't think he would have a choice but to come running out at least 5, 6, let alone what 30,
almost 40.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
here, hold on. I will right here. There you go. Oh, here, let me get rid of that for you. Well, I guess you can see the whole house. Yeah, I've just always wondered that myself. I've been telling Alyssa, man, I just really want somebody that has experience in tear gas to come listen to
there was on the live videos, the neighbor's son was commenting on it, and he's in the military, and right now that he is stationed in Germany, and he's like, there is no way that they should be throwing that many in there.
So I just don't think that everything about that time was so different from the times before. I don't think he was conscious. I don't think he had a choice to come out, and that's just my opinion.
My opinion is that, this is just my opinion, everybody, but I believe that they were trying to kill him first and then bring him out, so that there was no chance of them having to deal with him again. Or embarrassing him again, which I think that it is hilarious. It's not funny, but it is, that Leroy still embarrasses them and he's not even alive.
He says 5 in his opinion would be fine. Pretty sufficient.
So what does he think 38 to 42 would do to a person? I'm about to go outside.
He said 1 in our bedroom. Don't know the size would fill our room.
Oh, it's snowing in Wisconsin.
And they were loading him into that little room that he was in. And for him to have nothing on his face, he didn't have a shirt on. He was in shorts, no socks, no shoes. That's a lot of, if he was conscious, how many cans could he withstand before he would have to come out? Or pass out, I guess.
No. I don't know.
And even if they caused him to pass out, I mean, I'm sure they know about how many cans it'd take to knock somebody out and be able to go in.
And U.S. Marshals were there. So they're even more like specially trained for these types of things. So this is my question. If there is an armed, granted there were no shots fired by Leroy. If there is an armed person like in a store or somewhere, you don't just, in my opinion, just leave them there to do whatever they're going to do. You try, in my opinion, if I was an officer, which I will never be an officer, and I give them props for doing what they do because I could never do their job, but you don't just leave somebody to plot what they're going to do, especially with all those people outside. You would to incite them somehow so that you can get them.
Yeah.
In my opinion, if I was a cop.
Even if I'm just so conflicted, between the fact that I know that they knew Leroy and how they acted on that throughout the whole time, and what they didn't do, what they would normally do. It's just
right, because the time back in 2017, Ken, the sheriff, told me that once he found out it was Leroy, he just went there, went inside, opened the closet door, and was like, "What are you doing, dude?"
Yeah, that's what
he was like, "Man, if I knew you were outside, I would have just come out and not had to do all this." He's like, "You have me coming in at 2:00 in the freaking morning, like for this?" That is like, and then sat at the kitchen table, drank like Coca-Cola together, let Leroy smoke a cigarette, and the sheriff took him to jail in his. That is like their past stuff. They are that like know each other that well that they sat, talked a little bit, drank some Coca-Cola, smoked a cigarette, and went to jail in the cop's vehicle.
And so what was so different about that day? Because I don't care what those two people said that came out and said that they sure didn't act like he had a gun. They were literally walking up right underneath the windows.
Right.
Very lax. They weren't looking. They didn't have their guns drawn.
So there's another question for Sarah's husband. How far can a AR-15 shoot?
For anybody out there watching that does not know, this is...
Because from what I understand, that's like either it's almost a military grade or a military grade gun, or it is a military grade gun. So I'm assuming that can shoot pretty far.
Yeah, and I don't know anything about...
I've looked it up, but I can't remember.
Still, if that's the kind of... I mean, that gun, if that was the kind of gun they thought that was in there, they sure didn't act... I mean, no matter what gun they thought he had, it was still a...
36,000 feet. And from where those videos again, it was maybe 100 or 200 feet from the body.
She said
3,600 feet, my bad. But still, that were the videos that you can watch that were like live videos. I'm finally taking off my slippers. It's time to get comfy. But those videos were taken within 100 or 200 feet of the house.
Let me see if I have your.
It was 2 houses down.
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna push your group in my description option.
Do your thing.
So that way they can just click it and go straight to your group, if that's okay.
Do your thing.
I may look weird. I don't have my glasses on. Or I guess they're in my lap. I can't see for anything, especially with this light. I bless it. My best friend got me this light because she was just very supportive of me wanting to do this. And so she got me this ring light. I'm sure you guys can see it in my glasses.
I've seen it a couple times. There you go. Ooh.
But I love it.
TikTok famous.
It out just like everything else. Okay.
I got a lamp and Nikki, Ricky, Dicky, and Dawn.
Okay. I'm going to add that so that way it's there and everybody can just have an easy way
to. Also, in the autopsy report, it said that he had red marks on each side of his neck, respectively. So I'm assuming within the same area. One was 1 centimeter by 5 centimeters, and another one was 1 centimeter by 7 centimeters. Oh.
There, I posted it in the comments. For some reason, I can't add it to the description. Go figure. It's me.
So, this is a question that I get a lot. This isn't one that I had written down, but a lot of people have asked me why he would have that kind of gun. And from what Leroy said, he just loved guns. I don't own guns. I've never owned guns. I never grew up with guns. So I don't know. Like, I know nothing about them. I know we had like a illegal.
Many guns?
Huh?
Did he have many guns throughout your guys' relationship? Did you see? Was
he two.
Okay.
So he had, I don't know what it was. It looked like one of those BB rifles. Oh, somebody said it was a 9mm or something. I don't know what it was, but it looked like one of those little BB rifles. And because there were, I won't tell this story right now, but he's just a dork. Like, sometimes the kids would wake up screaming in the middle of the night. Like, Leroy kept everything separate. I agree with you, Tristan. But there was one night where the kids woke up screaming and crying, and he never left anything like together or anything. Like, the gun was always put up, and his ammo was in a different area. I've never seen him use a gun. The only time I've ever seen him use a gun was to scare monsters out of a closet. And he didn't physically use the gun, it was just for show. But my kids one night, they were they were in the bedroom screaming in the middle of the night, and Leroy like freaked out. And like for a minute he was like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" So he grabs the little gun and he goes into the room, and it was a Vampirina doll in the closet. And the kids thought that it was this big scary monster. So he took the gun like Elmer Fudd. He just doot across the trailer, and look it, I'm just gonna kill the monster, and pretended to shoot it. And the kids thought it was the greatest thing. They were not scared for so long after that. It was so funny. Well, then he got arrested one time, and that night the girls had nightmares, and Leroy was like, they started screaming, and I had my bedroom door shut, and I'm like, what's going on? I was scared. Like, Leroy was our protector, so like I was terrified. And he called me the next day from jail, and I was telling him about it, and he was like, you literally had a gun right pretty much next to you. It was maybe within like 5 feet from my bed because there was like, okay, so like up, I don't know, you could hang stuff from it, and there was like a I don't know what I'm trying to think of the word that I'm thinking of, like a cabinet type thing that
Okay.
was
Yeah.
up, and he always kept it up above that, so it was almost up by the ceiling because there was only maybe 6 inches from the top of that to um the top of the cabinet thing to the ceiling. Sorry, Paisley wrote a little note to me. Oh, or somebody wrote a little note. I don't know, and she gave it to me. But um so it was maybe like 5 feet from my bed, but then it was up high. And he was like, why didn't you just grab it? Like, what if something was going on? And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't even think about it. I was so scared. And he was like, you are the world's worst protector. I'm like, well, you should not go to jail because I need you here. Mm. I personally want to get a gun, especially if I'm going down to Tennessee.
I was gonna say the same. Like I've never, I'm not a gun. I don't even know how to.
Yeah.
I've shot like with some friends, some things in the air with some. I mean, it gave me like I don't know what I'm doing, but
I've got a paintball gun because I'm bad.
Going through the steps and learning how to.
Yeah.
It's a scary one.
I've definitely thought of it, like, especially if I'm here, like, with my kids, like, it's kind of scary sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, you ask anybody. I tell everybody my door's open. Just come. But it's gonna be locked because, especially if I'm by myself. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm that crazy. It could happen to me. It could happen to anybody. It could happen.
Especially if I go down to Tennessee, like I get nervous going down there because in the past, this last time I went to Tennessee, nobody followed me, but any other time that I've gone down, that I noticed anyway, nobody followed me. But in the past, when I've gone down there, I've had police vehicles following me, and there was no mistake in my car because I had Leroy's name written all over my car then. Now I just have like a little decal that has like a little angel on it and the day he was born and the day he died, and then I have a thing at the bottom that says justice for Leroy Stoker. But before it was in big red letters. Like, there was no mistaking me then. Mm. But otherwise, his autopsy just said some fabric around his ankles, which some people have claimed that it could have been his socks, which.
But I don't think he was on. I don't think he burned enough for his socks to. What did the do?
He never took his shoes off unless he was in bed. So I don't know why he would have only had socks on, especially if that was a trap house. It's probably gross. Yeah, I don't I don't know. When I worked for the prison system, there were some people who found out who my boyfriend was, and that was a little bit freaky. But I had told Leroy what people were saying about him, and he said, man, I beat that dude's ass. That's why he don't like me, because I beat that dude's ass. He's a bitch. I don't know. I've never seen him fight nobody, but he said that he wants to, if he did fight somebody, he wants to fight the biggest, baddest dude, because he was like, the big, tall, fat dudes always think that they can fight, but they're slow.
Out, it's a piece of cake after that.
I don't know. If anybody knew Leroy and has seen him fight, you could tell me. He would have been alive when they went back. He would have been alive when they went back because he had soot in his lungs and in his mouth, meaning he was breathing in that smoke when that fire started. So, from what I understand, he was in the front bedroom. So from the back, they would not have been able to see him if he was in that front bedroom, like they said he was.
That video that you was really good because you take us all around.
I told George that I was not going to like go into the house or nothing, and he was like, well, you can anyway, it's all boarded up. But they didn't have a lot of those windows boarded up in the back. So I tried.
If I was up there with you, let it be known, I'd have been all up in that house.
Oh.
Yeah.
I do, but all of the people that live around there,
I'm gonna look around and take some.
So there's the house that Leroy died in. The house to the left is George's sister's house. The house next to that is like one of their cousins' houses, I believe. Across the street is another one of his siblings' houses, I believe. Wow. And so that a lot of those houses are George's family, and I knew that. So there, like, I made sure I had permission to go around the house, but I did not have permission to go in the house. And I may or may not have gone into the house in the past when it first happened, but yeah, I don't know where I was going with that because I started reading Sarah's comment. She said, did they put roughly a time frame that he passed? They put 10:10 p.m. That was the time that he was declared dead, was 10:10 p.m. So from what I understand, there was roughly 15 minutes between the time the fire started and him being brought out of the house. So in that 15 minutes, he died.
And they didn't do any, you can see that they didn't do any type of life-saving, like CPR or anything.
They claimed that they spent 15 minutes inside the house administering CPR.
You can see from the video that that's not true.
That's what they say. I can tell you what they say.
No, everybody go watch that video. Seriously, I don't want to, put it on there, but that was not 15 minutes. That wasn't even 5 minutes.
That's what they say, is that they spent 15 minutes inside.
I didn't know that. I'm glad you said that because that is bullshit. Sorry. That's just my opinion.
Well, that's what they say. And I can only tell you what they say.
I'll tell you what I see.
Right.
They see that.
Well, what we see and what they say to them is 100% true. What we see is false. So,
what is it? Widespread hysteria? Is that what they call it? We're all just we all just think we see
are making things up. Yeah,
all going together in this group of hysteria.
It's just a conspiracy theory. That's what the district attorney told me. That he can assure me that there is no type of conspiracy here, and since he's not from the area and moved away from the area and then came back, he is the best person to handle the case because what did he say? That he doesn't have a personal connection to Camden, Tennessee or Benton County, but Holly Bobo's case was, I believe, in like the early 2000s. So he's been there for quite a while.
Wouldn't it be? It was 2010 or before then. Even
Sarah, I had no say in any of that. There's a lot of things that I wish would have been done different, but when you're in a situation like that, you're not thinking clearly. So I can understand why a second one wasn't done, because a natural death is hard enough,
Yeah.
But something like this, so unexpected, and there was a lot of drama, especially right away, between me and some of Leroy's friends, me and his ex-wife. There was drama between trying to figure out what happened, like,
Yeah.
and
I can
just
imagine.
so much goes through your head when something like that happens. You're not thinking straight. So I can see why there was not a second one done. I'm just clarifying because some people, they don't get it. But
Yeah.
like, oh, the way that Leroy ran his his little, he didn't have an empire. Leroy would tell everybody that he was for self. But the way that Leroy ran things, there was no way that he would owe people money. He didn't. He okay. The way that he ran his little things that he did, people would owe him money, but he would. We had this stupid, like, car shampooer vacuum thing in our house. If somebody wanted something, they were going to give him property for it. So, like, even if they didn't pay him, he still had something worth the same amount as whatever they got from him. So he didn't he didn't borrow things. People borrowed things from him.
Right.
And with the amount of money that Leroy had, he wouldn't have needed to borrow anything because he had quite a bit of money when in his wallet anyway.
So why?
Because pretty much the amount of money that he had on him pretty much covered his funeral, which there was not much done, but um, he still had quite a bit.
Yeah.
Uh, I believe though that if the friends that were there aided the police, it was because of being able to get those felony charges dropped. That is my opinion. And because from what I understand, that girl is very involved in the drug game and she has absolutely no charges at all, from what I understand anyway. I've tried to find them, I've tried Googling her, and I cannot find anything on her. But everybody that I've talked to says that she, like, after Leroy died, she was apparently staying with an ex DEA agent. And her sister has said that she's had numerous sexual relationships with officers and people in authority to be able to
Believe it.
get away with the stuff that she has got from. And now this is not what I've said, this is what I've been told. I've never met this girl. I've only talked to her twice. I talked to her once before Leroy died and once after he died. So I personally don't know her, but I've heard enough from just Leroy to know that she's not somebody I'd want to be around anyway.
I feel like if you want to be a dealer, you might as well just go to Tennessee because they let you just wild out and do whatever you want, and everybody knows, and they're just like Ray Charles. Like, I don't see it. Where?
A lot of the time I believe that they they are aiding a lot of
Yeah.
people to be able to do what they do. And then if you, this is just an opinion, but if you mess with them, they will make sure to take you down,
Yeah. Very
or
much.
they will set you up to take you down,
Like when we
which
first.
seems like, um now I don't know much about the Eric McClendon case, but I believe that is part of why he is dead. Is he probably messed with people too much and they just took him out.
I think that's why Aaron said. I
And
think
that
Aaron
is
knew.
why his murderer is still loose, even though they know exactly who did it. But the person who killed him was, this is Eric McClendon that I'm talking about. The person who killed Eric McClendon was a confidential informant, and that is probably why his murderer has not been charged with anything, is because that person is useful to the cops still.
Yeah.
They can take out who they want and make money off of who they don't want to take out. It's like Sons of Anarchy down there. Like,
I mean, seriously. That's what I was gonna say when Lisa came to me about her son Aaron, and I was like, "How is this happening?" And she was like, "Oh, this is nothing, girl. Since I've started talking about Aaron, all these people have grouped together in support of each other, and I dove in, and I've not seen anything
this
like that."
case is very, very interesting to me. Especially because the house that he died in, the type of things that were going on there just blows my mind. Even if you take Aaron completely out of that house,
Yeah,
situation, the
like
things
this
that go
house.
on in that house is ridiculous.
They were like a 5-generation meth running family, and I don't care what anybody says. With roots that deep, those officials, they know. Whether they know and they have a hand in it, or they know and they're turning their cheeks. You can't run an operation like that. Nobody knows.
Right.
Here, telling you, man, Tennessee is crazy. I used to go camping around them part. It was so beautiful. It's such a
Tennessee is a wonderful state.
awakening. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Until you talk about their law and their law enforcement.
Yeah.
I love Tennessee. I would have moved there in a heartbeat, but not anymore.
No way.
I will go, if I would ever move back down south, it would be close to Tennessee, but not close enough.
I said I would move.
I'd move more east.
Not now.
Move to the mountains.
Not now.
Another question I had today was, when I have tried, and that's why I don't talk to a lot of his family, like his mom's side of the family, because they just go along with whatever the lawyer says.
Well, you have a GoFundMe now, don't you? Oh, or a petition.
Yes, trying to get it is a GoFundMe. Trying to get a private investigator. The one private investigator that I talked to that is willing to do the case, there's a lot who are not arson investigators, so they will not touch the case. But the one that I did find, it is a $5,000 down payment. And so I am trying to collect the money to hire a private investigator to look into it, because his mom's side of the family is not, they're just going along with whatever the lawyer says. And the other side of the family is not doing much. They realize that no matter what they do, it's not going to bring Leroy back. They just want to get Leroy out of the funeral home.
That's the only thing. Like, he just needs to come home.
Yep. But it is what it is.
He doesn't need to be sitting in there. He needs to come home.
I was listening to this song the other day, and it sounded just like Leroy. And I don't know who it was or like anything, but it was talking about how when I die, just throw my body in the fire. Fuck it. And that is exactly what Leroy said. If I die, just throw a bonfire with my body, and that's that. Don't throw a big fit over it. Just, I'm dead. I'm not there. I'm
And there
dead.
are people like that, and yeah.
Okay, so Tristan asked, the funeral home said that we could view his body. Yes, but they highly suggested against it. They said that he had a lot of burns to his body and he had a full autopsy, which means he also had a cranial autopsy. They cut open his head. So they highly suggested that we do not go and view him. So when the first time that we went to the funeral home, which was on May 10th, I went, Leroy's grandma, Leroy's mom, Leroy's ex-wife, and then two of his friends went to the funeral home as well. And they suggested that we don't because of that. So we decided that we were not going to see it. One thing that Leroy always said was that he did not want people to see his body after he died. I don't know why. I want everybody to see me after I die. But that's just me. But so we decided not to view it. Then I'd say about maybe 2 hours later, called the funeral home back and said, you know what, we looked at pictures of autopsies where they cut the head open, and if at the very least, can we at least see pictures of it? Like, can we at least see pictures of him and decide whether or not we want to view his body from the pictures? And the funeral home director said that he had called his lawyer, and the lawyer said that we are not, the funeral home called the funeral home's lawyer, and the lawyer said that because of the traumatic experience it would create, it would be a liability for the funeral home to allow us to see his body. So we are not allowed to see his body. It could post-traumatic stress.
That's terrible.
So
I don't think that's any other business. I mean, I know. That's just my opinion, but
right. And I
don't think that's their call to make.
Yeah. They threatened to sue me because I put that on Facebook that they did not let us view Leroy's body. They threatened to sue me for that.
It was a liability.
I'm lying.
To be able to say that.
Yeah. I was like, so you did not say that? And he was like, no, I never said that because I never talked to my lawyer. I'm like, okay, whatever. I ended up taking the post down, but because I'm not going to get sued over something so stupid.
Yeah. That doesn't make any sense.
Granted, they probably wouldn't get no money out of me, but I don't know. But somebody asked me today if Leroy was asked to come out of the house, and apparently he was asked several times over a megaphone to come out of the house, and the person who asked this said it in a sarcastic way. They said, was he asked to come out? Did he come out? And don't you think that if he chose not to come out, that it's pretty much his fault and you guys are just trying to put the blame where it's not supposed to be? It was pretty much a sarcastic comment. But Leroy was asked several times, apparently, to come out by a megaphone, and then they allowed the chief of police's nephew to be the only person other than police to try to talk to him over the megaphone, which I think, in my opinion, was a strategic move, because there were several of Leroy's friends outside that were trying to run up to the house or trying to yell out to them, and they were threatened that if they tried to run to him or if they tried to yell out to him, that they would be arrested. So the only people who tried to get him to come out was the chief of police's nephew and the Benton County Sheriff's Department, from what I understand, anyway. So I can't imagine, especially his ex-wife, because they had been friends since they were 14 years old, and they were very good friends up until he died. So I cannot imagine being threatened the way that she was and just have to sit there helpless
Which is terrible. I
because
mean,
she didn't stay there the entire time. In the videos, you can hear her screaming in the background.
I was gonna say when they brought him out, you can just hear her.
It's sad. I can't imagine.
You can hear the pain just.
But then his other question was, did he come out? And obviously, you can see that he did end up coming out, but he apparently was dead when they brought him out. So I don't know.
And that's just somebody, they don't take the time to get to the end of, no, yeah, he did come out, not alive. So for him to make to make that comment,
I don't
that
see.
just lets you know right there, he was just reading what I like to call the headline.
I don't know
article.
I don't know if Leroy was alive or not when they brought him out of that house. I believe that he could have been alive when they brought him out because
Or at least attempted.
they put a tarp over him and checked underneath that tarp several times. Which, if somebody is dead, they're still going to be dead when you look under the tarp. But if somebody is alive and you're waiting for them to die, I believe that is why they kept looking under the tarp, in my opinion. I don't know, that's just an opinion, or I guess it's not even an opinion, it's a possible theory. I don't know. I believe that he might have been alive when they brought him out and made sure that he was dead before they had the medical examiner or whatever, the coroner, check for a pulse. That's just my opinion.
They definitely didn't try to do, from what we've seen, they didn't try to do any CPR, and they sure the hell wasn't in there for 15 minutes. Go back and watch that video. They were not in there for 15. Maybe I'm wrong. But it sure the hell looked like me they weren't even in there for maybe 5 minutes. Maybe.
Well, the people who were there, which this is coming from his friends, his ex-wife, they said that they pretty much went in there and came right back out with him.
Yeah. Like there was no anywhere in there where they could have got away with saying they were in there for 15 minutes.
Which I'm sure watching somebody that you love die, time is not going at the same amount as when you're watching a video. like I sit there and I watch those videos and I'm like, I notice things that I didn't know watching them when it was actually happening. Like me and his grandma both watched them bringing his body out, and we could hear them say, "Oh, he's dead. Oh, he's dead. Oh, he's dead." Hearing Kayla screaming, that's his ex-wife, hearing her screaming, and it didn't click. It just didn't click that this is real. Like, this is somebody that, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't click. It probably took me 2 or 3 days to even cry about it because it's like, this isn't real. This is not my life. This is not Leroy. It's a very hard thing to process, even still. Like, you think Leroy's just in jail.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. It sucks. And when people sit there and say some of the things that they say, I was talking to Leroy's ex-mother-in-law today, who is like a mom to him, and she was upset by some of the comments that she was reading, and it's like these are things that people are going to continue to say every day. I'm not reading any of the comments below right now. I will in a second, but she was very upset by some of the things that people were saying about Leroy, because this is somebody that we knew very, very well, and we knew the history of Leroy and these police officers, and it's surreal. Like this is something that Leroy had talked about a lot. Leroy said that he would say all the time that he knew that that's how he was going to die. He was terrified of it. We lived in Iowa, several hundred miles away from Tennessee, and he was still terrified.
You know, a lot of people have that same mindset if they're from Tennessee. They have the same mindset that Leroy had. So it's
And Sarah, I completely agree with you. How are you going to sit there and give somebody CPR and then have them breathe in smoke? Yeah. That makes no sense. That is just either they're extremely incompetent or they're lying.
Yeah.
Like, and if they are that incompetent, then they should not be in their jobs, and somebody should have gotten fired. At least one person. There was nobody fired. The person who did the internal investigation was the sheriff. Like,
I'm not a nurse or a doctor or anybody, but I was a CNA, STNA, nurse's aide. I worked in the facility, and even we knew you don't see if there's a fire and they're unconscious. You take them out. You get them out first, and then you start life-saving measures. I'm just saying. I may not be a professional, but
I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not a fireman. I don't know what you do in a fire, I guess.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just that stupid person who would bring the person out.
Yeah, I would assume
trying to clear their lungs.
Classes I was taking, first aid classes. I don't know, but it's Tennessee.
Well, there are a lot of intelligent people in Tennessee, but apparently not in authoritative figures or in authoritative positions. At least not in Benton County.
They're cleaning. Very much so. Very much.
I don't know. I'm sure this is a question that some people are wondering. I know exactly who is wondering this question, but there's some people who would like to know why I do not allow George Smith, the chief of police, into the Justice for Leroy group. And the reason behind that is he is a police officer. And he works very close with these officers. And I have tried to explain this to George Smith, is that
is he actively trying? Like he wants
Yeah, he sent another one.
Oh.
I declined it and he sent another one. So his family did not file an insurance claim. And I don't know why. So whoever keeps giving him information from the group.
Oh, you have a spy.
I do. I don't know if I have more than one, but that is a reason that I didn't bring him into the group, because I know how he is on the phone. When he called me and asked me about some of the things that were being said within the group, he remained professional about it, but he was also very pushy.
Yeah.
Or I don't know the correct word to use, but
a little strong arm a little bit.
Yeah. So I have tried to explain to him on the phone that I don't know what happened. He's a police officer. His family was
I would have asked him to
possibly involved.
Shots that were sent to him. Can I see what you're talking about?
Well, I knew exactly what he was talking about because he gave me the names of the people who said it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what I was. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and they was talking about past cases. What he was talking about specifically was past cases that he has handled or mishandled. And he had to make sure I knew how very well he handled those cases and how those people are lying and they're liars. And so I'm not going to have people in the group bullied because of their own opinions.
I tell everybody, the families that come across me.
I don't. I'm just speaking back to Sarah. I don't know who said anything to him. He did not tell me who said anything to him, and I could take out everybody that is from that area, but when I go and look, I would have to click on each individual person, and there's about 1,400 people in that group. So I'd have to go through all 1,400 people and see where they're from.
I'll do it. I'm pretty good at scoping out that one.
I don't care if he knows what I know or he has things to say about me. He does not usually call me. The only reason he called me that day was because I was at the police station earlier and I asked to speak to him, trying to get permission to walk around the house. That's why he said he called me anyway. But he was like, "But by the way, while I'm on the phone with you, why is this, and this being said? And why are these people, why are they throwing my name through the mouth?"
About it.
Huh?
That's what I'm so cocky. I would have just been, why are you so nosy about it?
Oh, I'm
crazy though that they go out of his way to reach out to you and let you know that, hey, I know you may not let me in, but I still know what's going on inside.
Right. And let him. I will, Sarah.
Yeah.
And this is just a random thing. This is a very interesting thing that I heard while I was in Tennessee. There was at least 2 people who were doing lives that day. And at least 2 of them, possibly 3, maybe more, I don't know. But I know for sure there were 2 people that were doing lives that day. When Leroy was brought out, and after they started clearing the scene, which was not until they had Leroy out of the house and dead, that's when they finally decided to clear people. But they went and found those 2 people who were taking the videos and had them come down to the police station and show the videos that they had taken to the police officers.
That's what I wanted to add. That you reminded me.
That was something very strange and weird to me.
I know we talked about that before, and I was just gonna just ask the pay, and I forgot what it was, and I'm so glad you said that. I'm just gonna. Is it
so strange?
I'll know what I'm talking about. There we go.
The person that I talked to said that he did not show his live videos, but his daughter did show hers, which hers were the ones that were long. So
what did they say to the guy that didn't want to show it? Just
I don't know. He didn't tell me. I didn't ask.
I'll be right back. Keep on. I just pop on. I have to go get my charger before I die and leave you alone like I always do. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you do. Oh, woman. Oh.
I'm all up in a square here. It's hard.
Yeah. Well, you're so teeny tiny. I completely agree with you, Sarah, and that is another reason that I will not let him into the group. The way that he speaks to people, and I've seen how he comments on some things on Facebook, and that is a reason that people can screenshot and send him whatever they want, but I'm not going to have to deal with that inside of the group. I'll deal with it anywhere else, but I'm not going to deal with it. Plus, I know that he's going to get attacked in that group. So it's like if he commented on something, there's going to be a whole bunch of people sitting there sending comments, and I'm not listening to it.
Yeah.
He'd end up getting taken out of it anyway.
Oh, I'm just trying to get plugged in. I can't imagine for you guys to be out there seeing the comments and then that's why that's what I base my page around is out of all the talk, I'm gonna give a place for the voices of the family themselves to kind of speak and be heard through all of that. So I'm glad that you asked me to do this because yes, I feel like you guys very much need a chance to speak too through everybody out there talking about your guys' lives. I think it's very important for you guys to be.
Well, when I was down in Tennessee, I asked, like, do you guys hear anything about this at all? Like, does anybody talk about it? No. They said that it's like it never happened. Nobody talks about it.
Nope. They sure don't. And everybody it's the same story throughout everything that we've been starting with the Unraveling series. I mean, it's pretty much the same story, just different circumstances as far as the investigation goes. So I want to learn about that, like I was saying earlier. I want to learn about that Holly Bobo situation, exploit the shit out of it, and be like, well, here's your answer. This is why Tennessee's wilding out, and I want to learn how to. I want to make a petition maybe to get it repealed. Once I know about it and I can actually go up and speak on it, I want to make a petition to bring attention to it.
Yeah.
Try to get it repealed.
A lot of people have sent me that case, and I never looked into it.
I heard about it when but I've never dived into it. I don't know anything to speak on.
Well, and then I don't know why, but finally one day I was like, you know what? I'm just going to the last time somebody said it, I finally decided to read into it, and then I saw Matt Stowe's name, and I was just like, what the heck? Oh, it was because that news station. I will get to your comment in a minute, Tristan, but that news station told me that the reason that the laws are the way they are is because of Holly Bobo. So then I went and I read her case, and Matt's name popped up, and I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. This is ridiculous.
See, I think I'm going to have to learn as much as I can about her case. So that way we can see, so I can understand why they have the protection that they do because of it. Because I think I want to kind of bring it into make an Unraveling episode about it, explaining like, I think this is the base to why why we have this series and why we need to unravel it is, and I'm sure there's cases for
like Making a Murderer, like on Netflix, but like Unraveling Tennessee on Netflix. Yeah. Because
everybody's speaking. So I wanted to find a way to not only bring those stories to life, but group them together so everybody sees it's not a fluke. There's some corrupt shit going on in Tennessee.
And it's just okay because the law says it's okay.
They don't have to show you where they messed up. They can just pick and choose what and that's crazy. So yeah, I'm gonna die. I want to learn about as much as I can about the Holly Bobo case so I can.
But so Tristan is asking about if Leroy was always planning on.
Oh, She's moving about. I think her Wi-Fi is in and out. There she is.
I'm back. Having
Yeah,
a I don't know.
yeah.
It's snowing here, so I don't know if maybe Bill does something. Okay, but so I met Leroy in 2018 when he was in jail. Surprise, you know. But I met him the place that he spent most of his adult life in, whatever. But so over, he was in jail in Janesville, which is where I live, Rock County. Um, and over when he got out of jail for a little while, well, then he began.
I think it must be the snow. I think you're froze again. There you are.
Okay, what's the last thing you heard?
Pretty much just the beginning.
Okay, so met in 2018. He was in jail. He got
Yeah.
out of jail and he was sober for probably a month. He had a really good job. He was making more money than I was, and he had only had maybe one or two real jobs in his whole life. So he was doing really, really well. And then he began talking to some of his old high school, or not high school friends, like middle school, because he moved out of Wisconsin when he was 14. So, or 14 or 15, I don't know. And then he moved down to Tennessee with his grandma. But so he started talking to some of his old friends and started getting back into
Right.
the scene. So he ended up, I can't remember what happened. I think he ended up going down to Tennessee because he didn't want to live like that anymore. So he went back down to Tennessee with his grandma, and I decided, well, I'm going to move to Iowa. We're going I have a bunch of family out there. I've always wanted to live in Iowa. So I decided to move to Iowa. Are you there? Oh,
Yeah.
he decided to come up to Iowa with me because he was like, "Look, I'm doing bad in Tennessee. I was doing bad in Wisconsin. We'll go to Iowa." And he did awesome in Iowa. He did amazing. And then he ended up. They found out where he was, and came and arrested him. And he ended up having to go back down to Tennessee. And that is when he began using again. And shortly after he went down to Tennessee, they arrested him. And then that is when, a month after he got released, is when he died.
Yeah.
So Leroy had plans before he died to get sober, for good anyway. His best friend had just gotten out of rehab and was sober for a while, and he said at Leroy's funeral that, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 days before Leroy died, he had reached out and asked him to help him get him into rehab. This Leroy, when he was younger, he wanted to be a social studies teacher. But as he got older, he realized with his record, he can't be a social studies teacher anymore. He wanted to be a pastor. So that was what he was trying to get sober so that he could eventually become a pastor.
Yeah. You're sorry.
I mean, I can't say while we were in Iowa, he always did great, but that was the best that I had seen him do was when we were in Iowa. He did struggle sometimes if we came back to Wisconsin, so we did not go to Wisconsin very often because I ended up starting to get into some of the things that he was doing, which
Yeah.
it happens. But
Yeah.
it is what it is.
I can understand that.
So, but
My
when
husband's
we were in Iowa, that was the best that he had done. He didn't work at that time. He was not supposed to be in Iowa, but uh, that was the best with his sobriety that he did the in our 3-year relationship. That was the best that he did was while he was in Iowa. He slipped up a couple times, and it happens, I guess.
yeah.
It's not an easy process.
By all means. That's why I say, as much as I was in my party days and I dabbled a little bit here and about everything, I would never ever. Did I have my close calls? Yeah, but I would never offend anybody by putting myself in the same category with somebody that actually has had a problem and struggled and
See, I'm lucky where I don't have that type of personality.
yeah. Like I
Like,
went out and I tried. Like my parents told me I should have grew up in the 70s. I was like, try everything, experience this, and all of it. And so, and there was a time when one of my friends was like, "Hey, Ash, you're getting kind of," and I had to like pull myself back. It was really like, "Oh yeah," but I cannot ever put myself in the same shoes as somebody that struggled with that.
right.
Not my
I
part time. I feel like all mine was just what we all maybe set out to do is just party with it and have fun and live life. And I was very lucky to able to.
right. That was my biggest fears about coming back to Wisconsin because I knew what happened when we were living in Iowa and we came to Wisconsin. But I am a very, very homebody now.
Me too. Oh
I
wait.
probably talk to you more than anybody.
Yeah. I stay home.
Yeah. But I don't know.
Well, is I'm glad that I'm glad that we did this. I'm glad that you could come on here and speak about some things. And I always say if there is anything else that comes about, you and Lisa both, boy, you guys are like, hey, can we go on? And I'm like, yeah, I don't have yeah, this is what I'm here for. Yeah, I'm not doing anything else. So right now, what I want to do is, I had somebody reach out to me and say that when I do my first videos on people, it's kind of confusing and like, yeah, it's a lot of pressure. I know that the families are going to be watching. So now I'm going to kind of take the time, go back through, go through the dates, put a timeline in order, and kind of go on and re-talk about them and kind of learn how to keep
I
them.
can't speak for anybody else's. I can't speak for Aaron or Courtney or Josh or Eric or anybody else, but I know with Leroy, there is so much history behind it. This isn't just a one-time thing. This is a years,
Multiple.
like, in my opinion, this, not with the police or anything, but Leroy's lifestyle is something that he learned when he was young, very, very, very young. And so there's a lot behind it, and it's so hard to explain that to other people. Like, especially in a post. A lot of people are like, well, your posts are so confusing. And I'm like, I know they are. They're confusing to me because I'm trying to fit years, a whole lifetime into one post. I can't say everything. It's a whole book.
People tell me your posts are so good, but you get a little frazzled on the camera. I'm like, yeah, because I'm not used to this. I got to get used to this, and then I'll calm down, and I think things will fall into order. So I'm really trying to note everything down. Like I'm gonna sit. Like I figured we'll talk about each time period in a year and go down, and it'll help me learn how to keep things in order. Because I think of something, and I'm like, oh wait, but this applies to that, and then so I'm trying to learn a flow and to keep it in order. So like the first video is just like a rough, chaotic run through, and then I plan to break it down.
Yeah.
But I'm getting
It's very hard sometimes to figure out what
dating.
stuff to put in like a public post.
Yeah.
Inside of the group, it's easier because you can break it down. But if you're trying to just make a more public post, what do you put in there? What do you omit? Like,
with talking about them, like families will share so much information, but you know, they're like, we can't talk about this publicly. So I try to leave that out, but still tell it in a way, like try to paint a picture around it and just leave those details out. So,
right.
and a post, yeah. I'm a lot better writing posts and writing than I am public speaking. My
Yeah.
sister will tell you if we go to a store and I even try to order from a waitress, I'm smiling and like,
You're probably like, well, is that what you do?
So she's like, you have to speak to her, Ashley. I'm like, stop it. I get nervous. I tried to do my
I can talk to anybody face to face, but over this, it's like I don't know who's watching.
My high school talent show, I tried to sing on stage 3 times. And it was a Miranda Lambert song that I know deep in my soul. And I was so lose. Yeah.
Our church is having a talent show in like a week or two, and my daughter has been like, she wants to sign up for this so bad, and she wants to sing. Like, she's got all these songs, and some, like, she has some church songs, some songs she's like, well, Leroy used to sing this all the time, like, I should do this song. I'm like, no. Like, they're not like his rap songs, but it's like, no, you're not singing that at church.
You get a drink or two.
My kid is like tone deaf. So I'm like, you're gonna go up there and I'm gonna be like this the whole time, but that's not mine.
Oh, so yeah, I'm gonna be like, that is my get it. But I can't complain. I can't because, like I said, you get 2 beers in me and I'm ready for karaoke. If you got a microphone and a jukebox,
we'll do car karaoke. A lot of people don't like to drive with me no more because I sing worship songs to them in the car.
That's my sister. My sister, she is very, she'll be like, I call her church music, her Jesus freak music.
Yeah, I love it. My kids are starting to get into it. I was in the bedroom today and they're sitting, they finally found the remote after not having the TV for a month because couldn't find the remote. Here they are just singing worship songs and I'm sitting in the room like, yep, there we go. Because for a while after Leroy died, they wanted to listen to his YouTube playlist all the time. There's like Gun Walk and First Day or Fresh Out the Feds or something. I don't know. There's Walls Talking by Kevin Gates, and there's I don't know, Power by Young Thug or whatever. I'm like, no, we're not singing all that stuff. I don't know. He was a mess.
I know.
And most of the time, he wouldn't even play that music around them. It was like Kiss from a Rose or Rocket Man or Prince. He'll listen to a lot of Prince.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He just did not like country.
I love it all though. As long as they're not like, and you're stop screaming.
That's what I used to listen to in high school.
That's where I draw the line. I gotta draw the line there.
Yeah. I've made my kids listen to some of that stuff, but they don't like it. But that's what I used to listen to in high school. So I'm like, oh, I love this. They're like, what are they saying? I'm like, most of the time I don't know.
Well, I am going to hop off here. If you see stuff like that, write it, jot it down, and we'll do that. We'll keep doing this.
Yep. Sounds like a plan to me.
Over all of it, you know, if you see some things out there you don't like, we can come on and talk about it, clear it up.
Perfect.
Yeah. I'm glad
I'll
we
let
did
you
this.
know.
I learned new things. You've been on here how many times, and I learned some new stuff tonight myself. So I'm very glad we did this.
Well, uh, when people ask questions, I will definitely write them down, and maybe in a week or two we can do another
Yeah, we
question
can
and answer.
absolutely.
I just won't do it by myself because
No, I get it. I hate doing it. I always
yeah,
offer for the families to be.
talking to myself is like crazy.
I always offer, and they say too, like, I wish I could do that. I don't want to do it alone. Well, I'll come sit with you, and you can gab all you want. I'll just sit and listen to you right here on screen, just however
Perfect.
feels comfortable.
Yeah. It's either your kid screaming or it's my kid screaming. So
My kids went to
whatever.
bed tonight. I was thankful.
Yep.
But
Today
yeah,
is
I thank you for being here. I hope it clears a lot of stuff up out there. And for people that are just reading the tidbits, really, you're gonna have to dive into the whole thing and just go to Justice for Leroy, because
What's his last name?
I said it and then I didn't say it because I knew it. Stoker.
Yay! She got it.
Was.
Hmm.
But yeah, you guys really should go and get all the information before you make a comment, because there's a lot of information.
If you say something that is very misinformed comment, I will definitely make sure that you are informed.
Clear it up, yeah.
Just so you know.
That's that's the
Hmm.
only way to get it done. And then I just say, that's why I like to do what I do and talk to you guys, the family, see what you guys are saying. Then I tell everybody, take what they're saying and then go share it into your crime groups and have discussions about what they are saying. So that's what I hope for. And to piss the law and the media off in the process. That's what I'm here for. But yes,
Fun.
I will. Yeah. Just reach out. Did I spell your name? No, you spell your name. I thought this whole time I spelled your name. Now you got me all nervous about the names. All right. Well, I appreciate it. I thank you for hopping on here.
Have a good night.
Yeah, I will. I'm going to bed. It's late for me. What time?
Yeah,
You?
it's 10:35 here.
That's 11:35 here.
Yeah. Oh.
All right. I
Maybe
appreciate.
sometime we'll do it a little bit earlier.
Oh, shit don't matter to me. I'll probably be up for another at least half an hour, 45 minutes before I even think about going to bed.
Yeah.
All righty. Thank
All right.
you.
Yeah. Have a good night. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
I just wanted to let everybody know that about the PayPal pin to the YouTube and the PayPal pin to, now she has her own GoFundMe, but as a thing that we're doing for the whole page is any family that you have seen me talk about on my YouTube or my page. We tried to do a fundraiser. It didn't work out. So I just took that PayPal link and linked it to my YouTube, pinned it to the top of my page. You will see some families coming back. I will do some run-throughs of families, all to kind of still do that fundraiser that we wanted to do. Still asking 99 cents because that's how much you would have paid to enter the event. But people have said, this way you can donate more. It will all be divided. We want it to sit for a little bit, and all the families know within a week or two, or maybe a month, we've been talking, just letting it sit, picking a day, and having the amount known and dividing it equally to all the families that you have seen me talk about. They just need so much, and I would love to just give a huge contribution to those efforts. So, like I said, they have their ways, many, many ways. I just wanted everybody to be aware of what we are trying to do here at True Crime Spotlight. Until next time, this is Ash with TC Spotlight. Stay safe, and you guys have a good night.